everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I am looking at some of the therapeutic themes in the book The Secret History by Donna Tartt. So in this book we follow a boy named Richard Papin, and he is kind of a poor kid, comes from California, and his parents have kind of the life that they want him to live, and he doesn't want to do that. So he decides he's going to get into this kind of Ivy League school and study Greek literature and Greek language and things like that. His parents kind of just, after he leaves, they take over his room. They decide that, you know, you can't really come home and visit for the holidays or anything like that. We don't really want you around anymore. Now that you're grown up, you need to take care of yourself. So he goes to this school, and he doesn't quite fit in because there's a lot of kids that have a lot of money. Like, they don't necessarily have to go to school. They're just doing it because it's something to do. And they are in the same Greek course and studying Greek literature and things like that, that I guess we could say, at the end of the day, what do you do with a degree in Greek literature? I guess you could move to Greece. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like that this was a degree that was going to get them a really wonderful job. Maybe they could teach it. I don't know. But they didn't seem to care because they were rich. And their families were all supportive of them. And they decide to try and make friends with this kid who is a lot different than them. And he kind of lies about who he is and about who his parents are and stuff, because he doesn't want people to know that his parents have pretty much kicked him out, and he's not rich, and he's never been anywhere other than at this school and in California. And he is manipulated by these group of kids that have everything that he's never wanted, and he is, you know, kind of in a difficult spot, and I'll discuss that in a minute. So the two therapeutic themes that I wanted to bring to life was the manipulation of of Richard by these other young adults who try, bring them into, give him a place that he feels like he belongs, and then kind of convince him to do something that's pretty extreme. And then the other theme that's in there is that as they're studying this Greek literature, they find this kind of obscure reference to something that the Greeks wanted to experience, where there was a time when you didn't have to think or feel or do anything, and from a therapeutic point of view, they were trying to give themselves a psychotic break. They were kind of to break from reality and just experience what it would be like if you did things without thinking about them and without even considering, where you didn't have to consider what the consequences were. Unfortunately, their experiment did not go well, and they did not end up doing something that was okay. So let's talk first, chronologically in the book. The first thing that we learn about is, or the first thing that happens is these kids trying to give themselves a psychotic break. Richard is not part of this. Even though he's with this group of young adults, he is not part of their little plan or their scheme to see what would happen, or if it's even possible for them to break from reality and just have a time when they don't have to care about what happens. So they're doing different things, like doing drugs, sleep deprivation. It seemed like they were trying to traumatize each other a lot. But why would you want to do this? Why would you want to have an experience where you are not in touch with reality and you have no idea what you're doing? It's not like it's something you can come back from, and if it's happened to you once, it could certainly happen again. And if you forced yourself into it, now you've kind of opened the door to the possibility that you could do this again. These people did not think through their consequences very well. They didn't consider what was going to happen to them because they decided to do this. That there are more consequences than just what happened. They go into the woods and they think they've perfected the things that they're doing, and they finally achieve their goal. So now they have had this episode where they are not in control of themselves. They're running through the woods, doing whatever they can, and they end up killing someone. Even though, like, some of their memories come back of the night, none of them are completely sure what exactly happened. They know that they killed this person, and rather brutally killed this person, but they don't understand, or they don't know exactly what happened, and they might never, because when you have a break with reality, you might never remember that. That's especially if something very traumatic happens, your brain may shut that out. Is it possible to remember it? Yeah, there are ways therapeutically that you can bring up old memories and stuff. You should absolutely work with a professional if you have experienced a trauma and you have no memories of that. And just remember that it's always real, but it's not always accurate. You may remember something, but it doesn't mean that that's the way that it happened. You should certainly work with a professional, someone that's trained in treating trauma. So then we bring Richard into it, and these friends of his who have been through this experience, he notices that they're acting kind of strange, but he also realizes, like, hey, they're really being inclusive of me. They're really being my friends. These are people that I care about. You know, I don't have anybody else, and I don't know how to talk about not having anybody else. There's another one of their friends that was not involved in the incident, but who found out about it, and he was involved in, like, them trying to have this experience. He just wasn't there when they actually achieved their goal, and he discovered that they killed this person, and he's been blackmailing them. And they call him Bunny. It's not his real name, but they call him Bunny, and the other friends are, like, trying to get Richard on their side and let him know, like, hey, you got to stay away from Bunny. He's causing a lot of problems. He's doing all this stuff. And Richard does figure out that Bunny is blackmailing them, but he doesn't understand why. Especially when these are the ones that have been so nice and accepting and treated him well. And Bunny just seems to be, like, really stuck up, and supposedly the story is that his family, while they're rich, they've kind of cut him off, and so he's using all of his friends for money. Richard is in kind of an interesting situation, and he's in kind of the perfect situation where he is open to manipulation. He does not have a lot of support, especially from his family. At one point, during the holidays, he doesn't know what to do, so he goes and sleeps in this barn and almost freezes to death, until one of the other friends comes in, finds him, and basically saves his life. He's awkward. He doesn't come from the same situation. He doesn't have money. He has no support. So these friends of him treat him well. They do things for him. They let him stay at their houses. They feed him, you know, and give him this sense like, hey, you are part of us. You fit in. You belong with us. And then they use that against him. And that happens a lot. These are people in those kind of situations who don't have a lot of friends, who don't have a lot of family who care about them and love them, are constantly seeking for acceptance and belonging. And so they get him on their side. They turn him against Bunny. And then they kind of slowly reveal to him what has happened, and how they have been trying to create an experience. And there were several times where he almost caught them, but they never really included him in this experience that they were trying to have. And then they let him know that, yes, they did achieve this goal. They were able to do this, and as an unfortunate consequence, somebody died. And that Bunny is blackmailing them because of that. And because they've spent so much time manipulating him and getting them on their side, of course he sides with them. Because, let's face it, like, Bunny hasn't done anything wrong. I mean, he probably shouldn't be blackmailing people, but he wasn't part of it. And these people who have killed someone are now trying to get this Richard on their side so that they can set Bunny up because they want to kill him, because they don't want to be blackmailed anymore, and they want to make it look like an accident. And they kind of pull Richard into their insanity, believing that they can solve all their problems by just getting rid of this one person. And so that's what they do. They set Richard up to be a part of their group so that they can take care of Bunny, who is causing them problems. And if they do that, then everything will be fine and life will go back to normal. And of course, because Richard is part of it, now he can't tell the authorities or can't do anything because he has allowed himself to be part of this conspiracy. If you want to know if that's possible, or if people can be manipulated into joining conspiracies and killing people and stuff like that, absolutely they can. And like I said, you kind of have to have we as people have a desire to belong. We have a desire to have people around us who love and care about us for who we are, without, no matter what. People who love us no matter what. And if you're lucky, this comes from your parents or your relationships or things like that. But if you don't have those options, you don't have those relationships, where do you get that? Maybe you don't have a lot of options. There are plenty of people out there willing to manipulate you to join into things and do things that are not okay. And yes, even murder. And people do this. And they get manipulated. And it happens in the world. It happens a lot. So, anyway, those are kind of the two therapeutic themes that I found in that. And overall, I did enjoy the book. It was certainly a dark academia. It made me think about things, made me go like, yeah, well, that's interesting. I wonder if that would work. And ultimately, I think that the way they did things, it could have happened. But I don't think they thought through the consequences and what happens when you don't think through the consequences. All of those people are now more likely to have mental illness problems in the future. It doesn't end with just that experience. So if that sounds interesting, go ahead and pick up the book. It's called The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And I've read another of her books called The Goldfinch. And I think she only has one other book, and I actually have that book, so I'll read it at some point. I do like her writing. All of it has some twisted ideas in it, but overall I think they're really great. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.